Let's quickly go into Bitcoin. Yesterday was a longer video. We're going to keep it short today. Quickly talking about Bitcoin, the latest news, and then I've gathered a few very important news events happening, of course, over the last 24 hours. So without further ado, into Bitcoin. Bitcoin, of course, in the bearish pattern right here in the bear market. We have the bear flag and we're at the top side resistance. Looks like we're going sideways a bit more along the top side. We've not really broken out yet, but we're just trading alongside the top side of the resistance here, potentially going to $84,000 soon. As you guys know, we have here this major resistance which we have previously been rejected from, and we're still above that. We're not below that, and as long as we're above that, we remain bullish within the shorter time frame. Of course, until we break down, then we'll turn bearish again. Looking here at the rising wedge that we're forming, we're approaching the end of the rising wedge, and we know usually these rising wedges, they trade in this way, and then they break down usually with like an 80% chance that we break down, and the target is all the way at the bottom at $65,000, which I think we will hit once we break down towards, give it a few more days. I think $84,000, as you know, is the target. And also looking here at Bitcoin on the weekly, we are approaching, and we are pretty much now exactly at the 200-day simple moving average. So the average price over the last 200 days, which is this orange line. And every time we are at this line in a bear market, it's usually acting as strong resistance from which we go down. So right now we're exactly at the 200-day simple moving average. Previously it has acted as resistance 2 times in a bear market. You could say that this is the second time, but I think, we might go down and get rejected one more time down here because it's really only touched it once. Also the bear market before that, look, we touched it basically 2 times, one time here and then one time along here. So we usually have 2 major rejections every bear market from the 200 simple daily moving average. I would not classify this as a rejection. So I personally think we can get rejected another time here and then go down. As we know, of course, Bitcoin usually takes 12 months to find a bottom. It always from the top to the bottom, it takes 365 days every single cycle, which will bring us to October 2026. We never have more than 2 green candles every month. We had 2 green candles here, we had 1 green candle in this bear market, and we had 2 consecutive green candles here. Right now we're forming the 3rd green candle, which I think by month end will turn negative. We also know that Bitcoin usually dumps about 750 days after the halving. Right now we're at exactly 750 days. Last time we had a dump after 750 days. The time before that it took a bit longer, and the time before that also we dumped after 750 days. And now the CME gap, so we still have obviously the major CME gap at $84,000, which we have not yet hit, but important to note, the CME gap that we formed over the last weekend, we have actually hit. So let me reload the chart. The CME gap was at approximately $80,000, I believe $80,300. If we zoom in a bit here, we can see it. And you can see that we've hit it now. We fully filled the gap, so we can officially remove it from our charts. And what we're looking at now is, of course, only the CME gap at $84,000. Keep in mind, we still have 2 CME gaps all the way down there. There's one, sorry, let me remove this. There's one here at $69,000 and one at about $67,000. So 2 more remaining. And finally, my short position, as you guys know, I'm short on Bitcoin right now, as there's many different indicators suggesting that we're at the top. And my short positions are 4-fold. I want at $81,000, $82,000, both of which have been filled so far. And then if we go up to $84,000 to fill the CME gap, I will enter 2 more positions, hold this position over the next couple of months, as we then for Bitcoin, if I go back to the daily, where we have our bear flag pattern, approach the bottom levels of the bear flag, which is where I'm going to most likely exit the position. So most likely at around about this level here, $65,000 is where I'm going to be exiting the position, which also aligns perfectly here with the bottom of the rising wedge, $65,000, and I'd be exiting right there. So let's quickly go into the major news events for the last 24 hours. I've bookmarked a few nice posts that I found. So President Trump has said that the ceasefire between the US and Iran is unbelievably weak and on life support. I saw that his main goal and main agenda is to make sure that Iran does not get nuclear weapons, nuclear powers, and if necessary, they will of course deploy more military action. Oil prices are again above $100. They went above $105 today on the news, of course. And for example, silver up 7% today. And we know that these assets like silver and gold, they usually perform well during times of war, during times of uncertainty, as people put their money in these asset classes. Gold, of course, is up also tremendously over the last year. Also today we had CPI inflation data come out. So every month we see what is the inflation data in terms of consumer production index, consumer price index inflation data. And we can see that it is at 3.8%. I believe last month it was at 3.3 or 3.5%. So we are up slightly. And of course, the main reason is due to higher oil prices from the conflict. And in just 6 months, for example, the US gas prices have risen 65%. And for the first time in 3 years now, the US inflation is outpacing US wage growth. So people actually, their purchasing power is going down. Inflation is growing faster than the growth in their wages. So you could say that people are becoming poorer in terms of purchasing power. And right now you can see that inflation is so high. It has not been this high since May 2023. And of course, like I said, the inflation rose, but some other asset classes rose even more. For example, it's mainly driven by commodity inflation, gasoline inflation, airfare has gone up. These all use petrol, these all use crude oil. Energy has gone up, and this is of course the main driver of inflation. And as a result of high inflation, we expect that interest rates will not be dropped further. In fact, there's a 31% chance now, after the inflation hits a 3-year high, that we will have a rate hike. So the interest rates might actually be increased very soon. And on the news of especially from Iran, from the war, and also because of the higher inflation, firstly, we had a dump in the S&P 500, but it has recovered today already. And we know that a few tech companies, AI companies, are performing tremendously well. Looking here at Bitcoin, we can see a major sell wall at around about $81,250. So Bitcoin is struggling right now to go above this level. And if we look here at Bitcoin, we can see really we've been trading sideways for the last couple of days now, and not really gone above about $82,000, 81.25. So let's see. I still think we're going to eventually break above. We have a lot of longs being built up right now, and this is what we can see here. So bulls are about to get destroyed. Well, why does he say that? We have a lot of long positions being opened. Open interest is surging, and funding rates are positive. What does this mean? If funding rates are positive, it means that more people are long on the market. They believe that Bitcoin's price will go up. As the funding rates are positive, they are paying every 8 hours a certain percentage of the positions to short position holders, which is to balance out the market. And as usually more people get long, the market goes the other way and tries to inflict the most pain on the market. Of course, the Nasdaq 100 also went down, but has recovered since after the announcement of the war not stopping. And of course, we have now Kevin Warsh officially being confirmed as the new Federal Reserve Chairman. Let's see what he will do. And we know, of course, that the last Federal Chairman, Jerome Powell, was very much against dropping interest rates, which is what Trump wants to boost the economy. But I think it's the right decision to keep interest rates high right now, while inflation is also high. And yeah, that's it for today. I mentioned the main points, and you guys know the strategy. Let's just wait a few more days. Bitcoin is slowly creeping upwards. I'm not going to open the liquidity charts, but you know that we have a bit more liquidity above us, which is usually where Bitcoin goes to, and then a lot of liquidity building up below us at around about $75,000. And yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you tomorrow. Bye.